2NURFM.com, a broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.
It's time now for The Environment and Us, thanks to our sponsor, Sugar Valley Lifestyle Estate, West Wallsend, and welcome him back from abroad. Well, not that far, thankfully. He's been to Borneo. Professor Tim Roberts, welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm back and enjoying being back, although the weather could be better. Over there it was beautifully warm.
Was it humid? I should imagine it would be.
Yeah, it was a little bit humid, but not too bad. It's in their dry season, and in their dry season, that's the time if you want to clear a bit of forest, you just set fire to it. Or if you live down on the peat swamps, down on the coast, which have been drained, and you decide to set fire to that, they'll burn for days, and so smoke's everywhere.
You actually encountered some of that smoke as they were trying to land the plane, trying to get in there, is that right?
That's it. We had a 6-hour delay from Jakarta because the plane we were supposed to be on didn't go because they couldn't land at the airport in Banjarmasin, which was a town in South Kalimantan province where we were going, and they couldn't land.
Wow. Just explain to us, Tim. We call it Borneo, but it's not referred to as that there. And just give me a sense of what's what.
Well, what's what? It's a big island. It's got 3 nations on it. It's got Brunei, which is a little tiny nation, yes. And then it's got the top segment of Sabah and Sarawak, which are provinces of Malaysia, and then it's got the biggest section of Central Kalimantan and South Kalimantan, which is the Indonesian territory. So the Indonesians call that island Kalimantan.
And we know it as Borneo broadly.
Yeah, and it's got the most unique set of animals on it. It's got orangutan, it's got these little pygmy Asian elephants, it's got all sorts of deer and all sorts of animals that are unique to the area, really quite amazing. I think even a tiger and so on. And of course it's got the civet cats, the cats that live up in the top of the rainforest and eat the coffee beans, and then you collect their poop and you get the coffee beans from their poop, and then you make the best coffee in the world.
It's apparently a delicacy, they say. Did you try it?
Yeah, I bought some. I'm a little concerned about having bought it because I understand now farming and force feeding these things, these poor cats. So
there's some ethical issues around it.
Well, I think so. I haven't gone into it very far, but
so whilst it's very different to our part of the world, we have some commonality, don't we?
Oh yes, I went over there to a forest rehabilitation conference because that's the work we've been doing with our conferences in Singleton, and so I was able to talk about what we've been doing and talk about the Hunter Valley and so on, because over there they do a huge amount of open cut coal mining, and the problem then is, of course, what to do with the land afterwards. They've got a particular problem over there that once you expose the rock to the subsoil, if you like, the rock to oxygen, and put water on it, and then you end up with sulfuric acid. So you've got this acid mine drainage, and so one of the mines we visited had a void full of water, so think of it as a lake, and there it was, and the pH of that was pH 3,
so
which is pretty acid, and there were 10 million cubic metres of water in that lake. So it was a big one.
So the conundrum is what to do with that acid water.
Yes, and over there, if you are a federally mandated mine, in other words, you've got approval from the federal government to have the mine, then the restrictions are very great on how you have to leave the land. So all of that water has to be converted back to pH 6 or more, which is near sort of neutral water that we'd be happy to drink. It has to be cleaned of metals of iron and aluminium, which are usually in high amounts, and salt. So there's a huge amount of rehabilitation has to be done, and some of the mines reporting at the conference were doing really, really good work, and so I learned a lot. I learned a lot.
And you can bring that back to us here in the Hunter. How many voids are we staring at here in the Hunter? Are we looking at in terms of mines that have been worked and then need to be rehabilitated?
Yeah, my calculations were of the order of about 25, so we'll have a little lake district up there between Singleton and Muswellbrook. So on the downside there'll be 25 of these pit lakes. On the upside there'll be 25 bits of water that you might be able to do for recreation or something. But it depends on how. It depends on what becomes of the water. Will it become acid as well?
I was going to ask you that. Do we face
will
the
it
same
become
thing?
too salty? But at the end of the day, there's quite a bit of optimism about the fact that one will be able to use these pit lakes, these voids, for something.
And how hard is it to revegetate the land surrounding it then if you've got this body of water that's basically the water forms in the open cut where it's been? How hard is it to grow things on the remainder of the land? Is that part of the challenge?
Oh, no. The techniques they were using over there were working. I saw rehabilitated, replanted land which looked just like forest. Really, it was doing very well, and they're applying the same science as our really good ecological rehabilitators over here.
Can I ask you, just before we have to finish up, about the orangutans? Because I know a lot of people visit that country with this specific intention of seeing them. What's the situation like?
Well, my only link was that I didn't see an orangutan, no. But one of the people presenting at the conference was talking about his work in central Kalimantan, where he's got areas that he's revegetating with forest and then bringing in orangutans that have been kept as pets and then trying to teach them how to go back into the wild.
So rewilding them,
yes,
essentially.
Yes.
Interesting. That's very fascinating. Always interesting to talk to you, Professor Tim Roberts, who happens to be the director of the Tom Farrell Institute for the Environment at the University of Newcastle. Now, you've put out a call. Next week we're talking about smart cars, smart cities and clean energy.
That's right.
But for the weekend coming up, you're calling all nerds. Do you want to just quickly tell me about this?
Yes. Microsoft, the big company, with the computer people up here at the university, are putting on a hackathon. And a hackathon is where you put people who like to write software, who like to create apps, computer nerds, you put them in a room for 24 hours and you see what they come up with. You feed and water them, of course, and you see what they come up with, and the winner gets a prize. And the apps that they'll be making will be apps that relate to a smart city or a future
excellent.
city. So that's going to happen here in the library of Ork Community Library here on campus, and we're looking for more people to enrol. I think we've got about 25 already, but we need a few more to really make up a strong set of teams.
Have you got more information at the Tom Farrell Institute website or something like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
It's on our website. You can go directly to it.
If you fancy yourself as an app builder and a hacker, then make sure you look at that. Professor Tim Roberts, thank you so much, and we'll chat next week.
Look forward to it. Bye.
2NURFM.